Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg, and we're here at the Rail Operations Center, ready to meet the people who inform, inspire, and impact our daily lives. Thank you for tuning in to Island Focus. So, is this the real train or just an example?
No, this is one of the actual trains that will be in operation with passengers. This is train number 2. It is identical to all of the other trains in the fleet. Train number 1, people may have seen up on the guideway doing testing. Train number 2 is currently undergoing some static testing. Eventually, it will also be involved in dynamic testing as well.
So the testing is going on now without passengers?
Correct. We cannot test with passengers. Everything has to be signed, sealed, and blessed and fully accepted before we can allow passengers on. In fact, so far, the only people allowed to ride on the train are the people involved directly with the testing or with the oversight of the testing.
So it doesn't look like there's room for very many people here.
We can actually fit up to 800 people in the train, approximately. Wow. 800. 640 passengers is what's called the comfort load. 800 is a little bit pressed in, sort of like on an express bus from the west side.
And different kinds of seats.
Yes, we have 120 fixed seats and 68 of these flip down, so for a total of 188 seats per train.
Wow.
There's actually bike racks in the middle cars, two bikes per rack, 2 cars, 4 bikes in the middle in the racks. However, people obviously, the flip down seats are near the door. People can come in with their bikes.
And they can bring their surfboards.
Yes, this is the surfboard rack. Only train in the world that has a surfboard rack, which can also be used for luggage.
Mahalo for tuning in to Island Focus and joining me in meeting Andy Robbins, who is the CEO of HART. Appreciate you taking the time from your busy day to come in uniform and join us.
Well, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Please share a little bit about where we are.
This is a very challenging project. It certainly has had its share of ups and downs. One of the reasons I took this job is I feel like it's a very transformative project for the island. So we all have that objective in mind, and we're getting there.
Yes, and transformation is a really good point, because many people don't like change. I don't like change. I like it afterward. And when you look at the many moving parts that you're faced with, right? There's the public-private partnership, there's maintenance costs, integration with the bus system. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts.
Right.
How are you personally getting through all that?
Well, I come from the transit industry. My entire career has been in this industry. I've seen a lot of projects around the world, and I see the benefits of the project that I've worked on. So this is a project here in Honolulu that I've been associated with on and off for many years. And what drives me is, the benefits that I believe this project will bring. And I know I share that view with the entire HART staff, our contractors, our consultants. We all have the same view that this is a very meaningful project. So that drives us every day.
And I would imagine, coming with your background from all over the world, and your professional experience, that the word creativity is just a natural way of being, that you will bring in these ideas that some of us maybe never heard of,
Right. Well, I'm an engineer by training, and we're trained to solve problems, and you really have to bring creativity to the job as well. A project like this, very large, complex infrastructure project, carries its share of risk, and you can't avoid it, but you have to solve those problems and address the risks that confront you. And that's what we try to do on a daily basis.
Part of the confusion or the lack of understanding maybe in the community is because of changing vehicles, that we're not used to. How do you help your staff move through the aversion to change?
Well, I think, we have to just tackle the problems as they come. But beyond that, we really have to have a strategy that drives us forward. So that's something that I tried to bring to the job. When I first came on about a year ago, I had two pretty simple concepts that I tried to bring to the job. One was to manage the existing work more effectively. And then second, as we move forward with completing the project, I wanted to bring global best practices to Honolulu. So try to have a fairly simple strategy that everyone can understand and really rally behind.
And I appreciate you sharing that, because plans change. Construction issues will come up that you don't expect,
Right.
especially in Hawaii, right, with our aging infrastructure and our island conditions. So how do you sleep at night with all of these things going through your head?
We just try to move the bar forward every day. And I know, I share that with our entire staff and our HART Ohana, as we call it. We try to make progress every day. We're measured pretty much weekly, monthly, so we see the metrics, but it's really just a sense of putting your best effort into the job every day, confronting the challenges, being open and transparent about where we need to improve, and just moving the bar forward that way.
So Andy, at the end of the day, when this is all behind us, what will it be about?
This is a challenging project, and it's challenging for us, those of us that are building it. It's challenging for the community as we go through the construction phase. But what we're really doing is, first and foremost, we're putting capacity in the transport system, the network here on the island, which is necessary for a growing population. But more than that, we're creating a mobility option. So if you don't want to own a car, if you're a student, if you're a senior, you don't want to drive, this is another option that increases the capacity, increases your mobility. But even beyond that, I think what we're also doing is community building. We're linking communities. We're linking institutions of education. The UH system essentially will be linked up, and people will be able to move about the various campuses on the train. The whole way that we live and work on the island should be enhanced.
Well, I know there's so many more questions that our audience would like to hear from you probably, and perhaps there's another opportunity.
Okay.
But thank you for hosting us in the program today.
It's our pleasure
meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in meeting Andy Robbins, who is the CEO of HART. We have the pleasure today of meeting Kiran Polk, who is the Executive Director for the Kapolei Chamber of Commerce. Glad you could be with us. And you too.
Thank you.
This is sort of your neighborhood, isn't it?
It is. It's our neck of the woods, West Oʻahu, the growing second city, as we name it, Kapolei. We are proud to support all of our business community and our community out here as we grow, which we're growing by the minute.
There are challenges, though.
There are challenges.
And I think that's, we were chatting earlier, and one of the reasons you got involved in the chamber at all was...
Our biggest challenges, I think most people realize, is the traffic. That's not something we hide. We're sitting here at HART. I mean, that's going to be a huge thing for all of our residents on the west side to be able to combat the traffic. But we also have the challenge of the fact that a lot of our professional jobs are still in town. So we as a chamber, we're really advocating and trying to help our community out here bring more professional living wage jobs out here to balance that out, to match the population growth that we see in the next 20 years.
That was originally the vision of Kapolei, and
So
to
live,
have
work, and
families move away from central Oʻahu or central Honolulu, raise their families and have a community out here, because you do have a community actually.
We do. We have a growing community, and with that growth, we also, we have a shopping center now. We have beautiful resorts, and we have all of these things. But we definitely need more jobs to get our residents off the road, so they have a better quality of life. So one of the initiatives that we advocate for is called the Kapolei Jobs Initiative Pilot Program. And it's really about creating incentives for businesses to establish or expand out into the Kapolei region.
All forms of business.
All forms of business. They just have to be in the Kapolei Eva region zip code. And we put this through to the legislature last session. Went very well. Didn't pass this past session, but we're
Takes a while sometimes.
It takes a while, but we're hopeful to push forward. But really, we're looking at those doctor's office, attorneys, tech companies that just need that little bit of extra incentive to expand. And this just helps give them a little bit more incentive and boost, especially in that startup period of time.
There's a bit of an irony, that I think that people living in town, if they work out in Kapolei, it's like so far to drive. And then people who live in Kapolei who work in town, it's like it's so not so far, it's just so much traffic.
And the traffic alone. Exactly. I mean, we have residents that spend about 3 hours a day on average in traffic.
Yeah. And what does this do to their family life too, right?
Exactly. We're hopeful for this jobs initiative to move forward and take course so that we can help, like you say, build our second city, have the live, work, and play.
So you're intending to encourage the legislature to give some tax benefits or
income tax credit incentive for businesses to establish or expand.
That's quite unique.
Yes.
I think it's a very creative approach.
Yeah, it helps in that beginning area, and it helps. We're just hoping and encourage just to bridge that gap and help take some of the traffic off the road and give our families some peace of mind and better quality of life.
And time for each other, right?
Exactly. 10 minutes from their job.
Right,
so.
right. Well, what can the public do?
We look for support in this next session. Definitely testimony and having their voice be heard. It makes a difference. But we need the support, especially from our residents on the west side, so that they can vocalize their feelings and thoughts of what we need to move forward.
Can they go to the chamber for some assistance in how to write testimonies or what to say?
Absolutely. I encourage them to contact me. I send out sample testimony. I'm also well versed in the legislation and can share more about it. Happy to do that.
Sometimes, folks, having been in the legislature myself, people are hesitant to go to that place because it's so foreign, and for you in Kapolei, it's really far.
It's far, yes.
But there is no mystery there.
No, it's not, and I think that's what we need to let our legislators know and the public know. Hey, we need this to move forward. We need just a little bit of extra, but their voice needs to be heard from our folks out here. So we're hoping that.
Being a community activist myself, I really appreciate that you're taking that leadership role, and thank you very much. I'm sure the public will come to rally to the call.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
You've been listening to a conversation with Kiran Polk, who is the Executive Director for the Kapolei Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for being with us. Leaving the center and coming out here, looking at the mountains and development and
the guideway.
Yeah, the guideway. It must mean a lot to you to work for this organization and to create this system.
It does. This is a legacy project. This is not. I'm not involved in building this project for myself, for my generation. This is something that it will be generations, perhaps my children, perhaps kids not even born yet. They will grow up with the rail as an option. They won't think about it. They won't think, I want to go to Ala Moana, I got to drive, I got to catch the number, whatever bus. Mm-hmm. It's going to be, I go to the train station, I ride to Ala Moana. It'll just be as natural as for us hopping in our car.
An option.
An option. And people need options. It's part of making life better for people.
And so when you come out here and you look, and you're a local guy, right? You're a local boy.
Born and raised.
It must touch you deeply to be part of the community's transformation.
It does. This is something that I can do to make Honolulu better for people. Make it easier for them to get to work. If there's something that happens on the freeway that shuts it down, people have the train as an option to get home. The train and the bus, they'll get them home.
Right. Well, thank you for your vision.
Thank you.
I'm here with Scott Nago, who is the Chief Elections Officer in the state of Hawaii, and appreciate you coming to meet him too. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
This is a big year for you
Yes.
and your office and staff
Yes.
and our state.
Every even numbered years, we do have an election, a primary in August and a general in November. So this is a gubernatorial election.
So when we talk about elections, it brings up a lot of emotions. Not all of them good, sometimes, but some of us are very dedicated, as yourself and your staff, to ensuring that the community not only has access, but that they actually are motivated to go and vote.
Yes.
From the years that you've worked at the elections office as a ballot keeper, now to Chief Elections Officer, what have you seen in terms of inspiration, I guess, to vote?
Well, one of the things I've noticed in my my career at the Office of Elections are the dedicated precinct officials, the ones that work in the polling places. Every year, you have the same people turn out. They have to deal with voters. I mean, they don't have to do it, but they do it because they have a sense of community or pride. They want to provide services to their fellow voters.
Yes, and I know you said they deal with voters, and from a perspective of being a voter, I love to go to the polling sites and be with the officials. It's a compensated position on election day.
Yeah, we call it a stipended volunteer. So we don't pay you that much, but we give you an honorarium. So it's more of a volunteer position that gets a stipend.
And students can do it too.
Yes, students can, and we do rely heavily on students to help us fill the polls. They bring the energy to the precincts.
When we talk about Hawaii having the lowest voter turnout, and our relationship has been a long time with kids voting, and we vote Hawaii.
Correct.
We worked with the young people. I don't believe that it's apathy that holds people from voting. What's your perception of that?
You know, we've provided the services. We've made it easier to register to vote. We made it easier to vote. There's numerous ways you can register. You can do it online now. You can do it when you renew your driver's license. Voting, you can vote. You can get your ballot mailed to you.
You can even register same day.
Yes, you can even walk in on the polling place and register and vote. So, I mean, what it is, I think it's a bigger issue than just the election process. I think it's something that it's not just the office that needs to solve it. It's candidates, the office, voters. It's something we all need to take part in to solve this issue.
Well, and obviously this is your career, and so you feel very deeply about the privilege of voting and the right to vote. It makes a difference.
Correct. Voting makes a difference. That's part of democracy.
Well, and part of our community running the way it runs, right?
Correct. It's your representation with the legislature.
Yes. So when we look at educating the public, because there's still funds from a national level,
Correct.
to educate.
Correct.
What does that look like from your perspective?
Well, we want to make sure that people who want to vote know how to vote or what they got to do to register to vote. So we focus on the mechanisms of where and when to vote. Not so much why and who to vote for, but just making sure that people who want to vote know that this is the services they can take advantage of.
So what I hear you saying, because you do the what and when and how,
Yes.
that the why
The why.
and who are really the responsibility of other community organizations to work with you.
Correct, and it's part candidates, part voters, because you want the voters to make informed decisions. So it really is voters, candidates that actually need to inform the voters.
Do you think there's some fear involved in voting?
I don't personally think so. I mean,
Like afraid of making a mistake, or afraid of not knowing what to do, or
there could be, but I don't think so. I mean, there's no wrong choice. It's your personal preference and who you want to vote for.
and to get informed about it, right?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we appreciate all that the Office of Elections is doing,
Thank
and
you.
your staff is so dedicated. Good luck in this upcoming election.
Thank you.
We've been conversing very briefly with Scott Nago, who is the Hawaii State Chief Elections Officer. Appreciate you being with us. Tim Mots, who is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii. Appreciate you being with us. So nice to see you again.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me.
This is a bit of an unusual place to be meeting.
It really is. Yeah, never a dull moment in Boys and Girls Club, so this is a perfect setting for that type of conversation.
And I think it ties into some of the projects that you have going on. But before we go there, tell us a little bit more about your role and also the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Absolutely. I'm so honored to be the CEO. Believe it or not, it's been 7 years. Sometimes it feels like it's been 70 years, sometimes 7 days, as you can imagine. But as the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii, we oversee 9 sites throughout Oahu and Kauai. There are operations on Maui and the Big Island, which are doing fantastic work as well, who have CEOs there. But really, the 14,000 kids we see each year at the Boys and Girls Club, our goal is to take those 7 to 17-year-olds and really give them a second home.
14,000?
You heard that right, 14,000 kids. So every day, about thousands of kids literally vote with their feet to come to the Boys and Girls Club.
On every island?
On every island. So their outreach is really tremendous.
So your supervision, I guess, is on Oahu and Kauai, I understand.
That's correct.
Okay. And what happens at the Boys and Girls Clubs?
Yeah, if you could picture an average day, basically those kids are getting out of school, they're walking across that field, and they're seeing those big blue doors. And as they walk in, there's caring adults who know their name. Think of like Cheers, everyone knows your name, right? And they're walking through those doors, they're greeting that staff, they're seeing their friends, they're in that casual setting, a lot of fun, the bells rang, they're relaxing, and they're getting a healthy snack. Maybe they're grabbing their uniform for their game that's going to be occurring that day, or maybe they've got to get their homework done, so they're rushing into power hour to get that homework assistance done with their mentors, or maybe even just going upstairs and vegging out for a little bit on a couch, listening to some music. So there really is a myriad of opportunities.
Well, in varying capacities, I'm familiar with the different clubhouses, and every place has a different energy and different atmosphere, but there's some consistency in all of them.
There really is. Yeah, the idea is these kids are going to be able to choose what they want to do after school. We're not mandating it, and they're getting a menu of opportunities that really revolve around their health and wellness, their academic success, and their good character and citizenship.
And you have some very cool projects going on.
We really do. I mean, one of my most exciting ones is through a national partnership with Raytheon, who's made a $5 million investment in Boys and Girls Clubs across the country, is to put in an innovation center in Ewa Beach. And so the idea is these families with these military kids, 70% of families that have military children are not living on base. So where are they going after school? A chance to be able to go in, access our 3D computers,
Wow.
Mobile Nerd, which is a program where they actually go online and get to code and learn STEM programming. I mean, just the possibilities are endless in these STEM centers.
Mobile Nerd.
Mobile Nerd, yeah. I think we got to work on the name a little bit maybe, but the kids actually really enjoy it, and it's a chance for them to access programs that would normally cost thousands of dollars for their $25 a year that it costs to come to the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, and I love the play on words too, because it also gives the idea that being academic and being intelligent and being community oriented is a good thing.
Absolutely. I mean, we want to break that cycle of poverty and getting these kids to think, well, I don't have those opportunities because I don't live in the right zip code or I don't go to the correct school. We really want to make sure it's access for all. So whether you're going to a local private school or a local public school, you come together after school, work on some innovative projects together, and really develop your great future.
And how does one get involved, or how would I know if I'm a parent of a school-age child?
So one of the beauties of our clubs is we're an open door policy. Anyone who wants to come to one of our 9 facilities throughout Oahu and Kauai simply shows up. We're on these local DOE campuses right next door. You come down, you fill out your membership form as long as you're 7 to 17 years old, and you pay your whopping $25 for the year. If you have a teen, it's $10 for the year. And you get to get a tour of the facility and really plug in your child into the Boys and Girls Club family.
Well, what I appreciate about you is that enthusiasm flows over to your leadership, but it also permeates down to the staff and to the young people.
Well, that's right. I mean, what an honor to be able to walk through those doors each day and see these thousands of kids with a smile on their face, with not a care in the world when they're in the building. And how can you not have that enthusiasm be infectious? So if you don't go in there with a smile on your face when you start, you certainly will when you're done for the day.
And many of them are probably happier there than they are at school.
I mean, not to bore you with all the data, but we have statistics upon statistics that show that after school, they're feeling tremendously like a weight's been lifted, the bullying that maybe they've been suffering throughout their day. There's really an opportunity for them to kind of release and just have a great time.
So parting message to the audience?
You know, our goal at the Boys and Girls Club, we have a motto, which is to be great. And we're giving every kid an opportunity in Hawaii to truly be great. So whether it's you want to come volunteer, come to one of our special events, or really just absorb the club culture and learn a little bit more about the Boys and Girls
Great.
Club.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor.
We've had the pleasure of meeting Tim Mots, who is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii. Glad you could be with us. Mahalo to the Rail Operations Center for hosting us today, and to you for tuning in to Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. Aloha and malama pono. Take care of each other. See you soon.